It's officially the start of the Doctor Who final episodes with The Legend of Ruby Sunday from showrunner Russell T Davies. After a season of half a dozen adventures, the little series of adventures is ending. Story arcs have been set up around the lineage of Ruby Sunday, how she was abandoned on Ruby Road. There's also a mysterious, powerful threat who's been waiting for a long time. With so much going on, can the Doctor manage to save the day? Thankfully, he's not alone. As discussed in the preview, UNIT is back, led by Kate Stewart. She's got an army ready to assist the Doctor with anything. With them also recruiting former companions, we've also got the return of Rose and Mel. Hopefully with their forces combined, they can defeat anything that comes their way. Let's see how they save the day in the full review of The Legend of Ruby Sunday. Big warning, this is our full review of The Legend of Ruby Sunday. Spoilers are going to be here. There are things in the episode that you don't really want spoiled for yourself. If you've not seen the episode, please go and watch it, and then come back and watch this review and let me know what you think of it. Greetings everyone, I'm Jack and welcome to Tardis Central. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Doctor Who news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Tardis Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Doctor Who universe. But as always, please answer your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you are talking about Doctor Who, then we want to hear about it. Remember, we want to know your thoughts on this episode, so get commenting. The episode opens with a familiar UNIT clip as the TARDIS makes an entrance. After seeing Susan Twist's characters throughout the universe, the Doctor's gone to UNIT for help. All of our favourite characters are there, including newcomers Morris and Harriet. It's a hell of an entrance, although materialising is seemingly going out of style at the minute. I can't shake the thought that the sum opening was cut for time. The Doctor's quest for answers does seem pretty sudden after Rogue. It's almost like we're missing 2 episodes. The Doctor takes UNIT through all of the Susan Twist cameos, but they're ahead of him and they recognise her immediately. In 2024, she's a tech billionaire, ready to give out her technology for free to the entire world. That sets alarm bells ringing. Who gives away things for free these days? I mean, seriously. UNIT's been keeping an eye on her for a bit, especially given that S-Trier technology is an obvious anagram for TARDIS. Not only that, but she's called Susan. Could this be the Doctor's granddaughter? Could someone be harnessing TARDIS technology? It's a great opening, including funny jabs at Elon Musk and Rishi Sunak, because of course we had to do that. The return of Susan is something that fans have wanted for a long time, but as Mrs. Flood says, sometimes we don't get what we want. Although I do think a return for her is on the cards. Speaking of Mrs. Flood though, she's not only aware of the TARDIS and breaking the fourth wall, but she knows of the one who waits. Threatening Cherry, of all people, made for a really creepy return. Is Mrs. Flood evil, or is she just a watcher, maybe a guardian? I really hope we find it soon and they don't drag it into season 2. It would be annoying, but worth it, I guess. Despite the Doctor telling them all the way back in the 1970s not to play around with time technology, why would UNIT listen? They've got a time window, allowing them to create a projection to the past 10 floors down. Pairing us with a VHS tape from the night of Ruby's birth, the titular legend. Yes, while most people don't have VHS players, somehow UNIT can hook one up into a time machine or time window. I remember VHS tapes. Anyway, this is where the very blue and glitchy environment from the trailers was. It's like a map of Ruby Road that night. Also, it looks like a holodeck from Star Trek. I can't help but making that comparison. We can see a cloaked figure of Ruby's mother, and we still don't know who she is. Not sure why they're hiding her identity like this, unless it's a massive reveal. Still, it was an emotional scene as she walks away. Another phenomenal show of Gibson's acting talent, tugging at the heart. The death of Colonel Chadozi was also haunting, deep growling voices turning into sand. As a quick note, for those of us who grew up in the UK, some of you might recognise the Colonel from a little show called Waterloo Road. Small world. Anyway, these were some real haunting images. It's also a great setup for the reveal later, but I wish stuff like this was stretched earlier through the season. It would have a bigger payoff. As was revealed in the Space Babies, time is changing. Instead of simply walking away like in the church on Ruby Road, she's now pointing at the Doctor. For an episode named after Ruby, it doesn't give us any answers. Given this massive sequence, it's a little disappointing, but hopefully next week gives us something and the payoff is there. I'm curious as to how Carla recognises that blob as the Beast. Also, a nice nod to another Gabriel Wolfe character. Triad is what I'd call the secondary focus of the episode. Mel's on a media team and Triad's far too nice. It's a little obvious that she wasn't going to be the Doctor's Susan. If they're going to do that, then I do think they definitely would make use of Carol Ann Ford. Although I still don't know exactly how Twist and her cameos tie into this. Is she a manifestation of a villain throughout time? Is he just making use of her? We see her possessed at the end with some proper scary effects. For an episode that was mostly setting up a final, I hope we get some nice answers and payoffs to go along with them. The questions it posed at the start are carried through the whole episode, creating a really tense atmosphere. However, outside of a villain reveal, there's not much in the way of concrete answers. Like most final openers, it hinges entirely on next week's actual payoff. If next week is able to live up to the hype, this will be an all-time great final. With a big breadcrumb throughout the season, Susan had a very limited, albeit memorable presence in the episode. Instead, it's occupied with the One Who Waits, a villain that hadn't really been set up well at all. What's most unclear at this point is what it has to do with Ruby Road in 2004. I doubt it's a coincidence that they're both being set up at the same time. There's got to be something connecting them. Whatever it is, the fate of the universe seemingly hinges on Ruby Sunday. Everyone's in a lot of danger as the One Who Waits finally reveals himself. For Dr. Romello at Susan's presentation, however, the Doctor's conversation with her earlier had a massive impact. All of her dreams come flooding back, and she no longer knows who she is. It's a moment that many saw coming as Triad finally reveals her gift to the world. The One Who Waits, mentioned all the way back in The Giggle, is revealed as Sutekh, played by Gabriel Wolf, a villain who's not been seen since 1975's Pyramids of Mars. As a classic fan, the reveal works. I was screaming and beyond excited. What can I say? Russell T Davies just knows how to do an epic final, although I don't think it necessarily has the impact it thinks it did for less familiar viewers. Sutekh means nothing to most fans. While in 2007 the Master didn't either, the gravity of another Time Lord was well established. I don't think it was set up as well as it could have been, but then again, we've been playing with gods, so who knows. Hopefully this gets more people delving into the classic series of Doctor Who. While they are old, they are still a good watch. It's an increasingly obvious setup throughout the episode that something is increasingly apparent on the rewatch. From Susan telling Mel to call her Sue, to motives of gifts to humanity. Just wish it was all a bit breadcrumbed throughout the season more rather than dropped in this episode. Although the reveal still works, it's also a threefold cliffhanger. Ruby once again in a time window with her birth mother, Sutekh also revealed his true form with a lovely horrifying redesign and is now terrorizing UNIT, everyone's in danger. And I don't know how they get out of this one, it's a phenomenal cliffhanger. Very excited for next week. So that was the legend of Ruby Sunday. As someone on the Sutekh theory train from the beginning, it was immensely satisfying to see it unfold. He's one of the most dangerous villains in Doctor Who, and I can't wait to see him properly unleashed next week. More than that, it seems headed for some kind of answer to Ruby Sunday's lineage, and I'd love to know why her mother is now pointing at the Doctor. Speaking of which, if you go back and watch the footage of Ruby Sunday's mother approaching her in the time window, it looks like she's got something on her wrist that's flashing. Vortex manipulator, communications device, I don't know, but I noticed it and it's definitely there. As cool as all these reveals were, there's still plenty more to come. There was no next time trailer, leaving us all waiting in full anticipation for the Empire of Death next week. We're headed for an action-packed finale, properly explaining how Susan Triad fits into all of this, defeating Sutekh and maybe even explaining who Mrs. Flood is. Not only that, but after all of this talk, it'd be nice if the Doctor did actually get to reunite with his granddaughter. It's already a crowded setup, but the return of Susan is something that now looks more possible than ever before. This is the most excited I've been about Doctor Who's final for a while. Bring it on. Speaking of a trailer though, there was a small teaser released by Doctor Who Unleashed, which shows UNIT firing at Sutekh and his Harbinger, standing in front of a Tardis. We'll be discussing this in our upcoming preview episodes, and of course we've got to talk more about Sutekh. Okay, what an episode. Easily my favourite of the season, and I know I say that quite often, but the episodes do just get better and better. Now what did you think? Seriously, get typing in those comments and let us know what you thought. I personally really think you can feel the short season here. We need more episodes to get to know the Doctor and his companion. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Doctor Who news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Tardis Central. We've got a lot coming to you this week. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Doctor Who universe. But for now, thanks for watching, I've been Jack, and we will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.